Welcome back to the Freedom Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your freedom engineer, Lindsay Sutherland, business coach and energy consultant. So, what is an energy consultant? While I'm on here, I just wanted to briefly mention this because I was so for those of you, by the way, watching on YouTube, you'll see I'm wearing my farm clothes essentially. I have a t-shirt on and a hat on, but I was so inspired and I was like, I've got to get on and record this podcast right now while my energy is flowing. And the reason for that is because energy is not bound by time or space. So whether you're listening to this a week, a year later, it doesn't matter. You will benefit from this energy. It will help you get the clarity and receive this message. That's why it's so profound. So why I'm telling you I'm an energy coach is because I want to help you. I want to help you to manage your energy. We take a lot of time in the world to pay attention to the food we eat or to take care in our day-to-day life in various ways, maybe how we dress and those things. Well, being a steward of your energy is as important, if not the most important part of who you are, because your body is 99% energy. It is limitless possibility in quantum particles that are just simply there waiting to manifest into something based on your intention and your emotion. So, dictating your future every waking moment means being a steward of your energy, and that is freedom engineering at its core. And as we talk about how to have a burning desire, these are the tangible steps to help you get to that. So, to go from a place of feeling sad or lonely or depressed or uncertain, um, lost, to feeling confident and clear and intentional with your life, it is an energetic shift that is taking place more so than a physical transformation, that the physical manifestation of it is a result of the work you're doing internally. And that's why so much of this series is based on talking about mindset and energy. Okay, so today we are talking about a burning desire, how to manifest a burning desire. So if you have a goal, say you are working in a regular W-2 job and you feel restricted, you feel limited, and you want something more expansive, and perhaps you want more money, you want a promotion, you want to have a career that's working for yourself. Maybe you don't want to work at all. It doesn't really matter what is speaking to you. What matters is that you have this desire. But what can often happen, and what often does happen, is that we end up with a goal or a dream that becomes kind of a wish because we haven't like they say, a wish, a dream without a plan is just a wish. But I would also say that a dream with a plan without a burning desire is just a wish. Because when it's the burning desire that is literally the catalyst, the fuel, the rocket engine fuel that makes it all come together. Action and strategy will get you so far, but at some point you burn out, you give up, you forget. I mean, how many dreams have you had that you forgot you had? Many, I'll imagine. And this is why having that burning desire is so powerful. But when we are talking about having the dream without a burning desire, sometimes we might be like, well, I know I want it, but it's been years since I've been saying the same thing for years and nothing's really coming of it. I'll make like some headway and then I fall backwards. Do you ever feel like your life is going in a circle where you kind of keep ending up like Groundhog's Day in the same place you were before? Well, that's because you don't have that burning desire and that clarity to get you where you want to go. You make an earnest effort, and then when you get faced with a challenge, you kind of fall back. It's like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't meant to be, or first I need to deal with X, Y, or Z, and we do that to ourselves all the time, that this first and then thing. Here's the reality, though. A burning desire is something you keep alive. Back in the cavemen days when they finally figured out what fire was, they used to take a horn. I don't know what animal it was from, maybe a buffalo horn, and they would keep an ember of the fire going in that buffalo horn so that when they got to their next place, they would have that fire with them. Okay. And there was a firekeeper, and that person's job was to keep that ember alive because it meant life to the whole clan. It's the same thing with our dream and our desire. It is up to us to keep the fire alive. But if you're not feeling the fire and you're settling for less than your dream, there is a way to manifest that burning desire. Okay. And we're going to talk about how to do that. So, right now, I hope that you came into this conversation with a defined goal of some sort. In the last episode, we talked about the litmus test of whether or not your goal was a burning desire or was it just smoldering? Is it just smoldering or is it really on fire? And if you aren't sure, go back and listen to that episode. But if you are sure that you have a smoldering goal and you want to have a burning desire, you want it to consume you. Listen, that is literally, think about fire. It consumes what it's burning. I just was burning some garbage in the yard. It wasn't garbage, it's like miscellaneous leaves and things. And the fire consumes it. I love watching the fire as it burns through it. Well, the same is true with your burning desire. It will burn through the obstacles in your way and help you get to your goal and achieve your goal. Okay. So I'm going to use myself as an example and kind of how I came to even have this clarity. So, working with my own coach, my business coach, I have set the intention with her when I started working with her about 6 months ago that I wanted to earn $40,000 months, and I'm tired of working with coaches and getting focused on my this is what I told her. So just bear with me here because it's kind of funny now that I'm saying it. But working with coaches that want to have me work through relationship challenges or work through mindset challenges and all of this. And I told her, I said, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to working through mindset. Of course, I love mindset stuff. But in that moment, I was really determined that I wanted a physical transformation. And I have worked with coaches in the past who promised me that. And then it was more of a relationship type coaching. And I just didn't want that. I wanted to be very clear up front with what I was expecting from this relationship with her. Anyhow, so recently I said to her, I'm like, I feel like I haven't really made a lot of headway towards my goal. And she brought it up to me about this relationship we have with money. She wanted me to focus on my relationship with money as if it was a relationship with a human being. So, in my deep thinking past that day, I started really realizing that this goal that I have of attaining tens of thousands of dollars a month is something I've been talking about for a long time. Talking about talking about being the operative word here. So if you have a goal that you've been talking about for a long time, like I want to lose weight, um, I really want to go to Hawaii. I One day, someday I will. Okay, we're going to bring your someday dream to a firm burning desire so you can achieve it sooner. Because what I discovered through this process of my deep thinking is I didn't have a burning desire. I had a desire, but it wasn't burning. It was smoldering. It would be like, it'd be nice if I could make 40 grand a month. But if I'm only making X number of dollars and I'm making it by and I'm okay. Meanwhile, I would sometimes pride myself on how resourceful I was with the limited number of dollars I had. And that's so contradictory to the goal I was saying I had. You see where I'm going with this? This is what I was talking about when I say that our brains are like the masters of deception. We are the masters of fooling ourselves. So we're like, it's like saying, if I'm overweight and I've been overweight, and it's like somebody walk up to me and say, "Well, you must enjoy being overweight." I'd be like, "No." Why do you think that? Well, because you're not doing very much to get out of your situation, that, I would be extremely offended. Why am I offended? Because the truth is, I'm not taking those steps to do something about it. I am allowing myself to stay in that state. And it's offensive. The truth is offensive and it's triggering when there's work to be done in that vein of thought. Okay. So there will be something that's going to come up here. And this is what I call a sponsoring thought. Okay. So a sponsoring thought is when you have a subconscious thought that's truly dictating the outcome. So I don't know how much you know about your thoughts and how powerful they are. But what you speak about, what you think about, what you talk to other people about, everything you do, you put energy into, you are creating with your word, whether that be a positive or a negative. And what can happen is we might have like 10% of the time where we're like, it'd be nice to have 40 grand a month, but, and then there's the sponsoring thought, right? But what, Lindsay? Well, it's this was my sponsoring thought, which is what came up for me was I believed that I have to work hard to earn money. And this came from my coach asking me about my relationship with money because I realized in my mind, money can only come if I physically work hard. And that was something that was ingrained in me as a child. My dad was a hardworking man. I was raised to be physically hardworking. My whole sense of self-worth was centered around my output, my grades as a student, my rodeo queening days. I was only successful. I only won the crown when I was the best. It's like who I was very much centered around work ethic. I would be complimented for my work ethic. I would pride myself on my work ethic. I would judge others for having a bad work ethic. So you see, that was my sponsoring thought was saying, well, golly, if I'm going to make $40,000 a month, I bet I'm going to be working so hard. I'm going to burn myself out. I won't be there for my family. And now, this is the powerful moment, okay? The powerful moment is when you recognize that sponsoring thought and you use it to clarify your dream even more. When I changed it to say, I want to harmoniously earn $40,000 a month, where I feel balanced and enjoy even just saying that right now, I felt lighter. My energy lifted. It felt true. It felt good. It felt achievable. Now, the trick is sometimes we get stuck on the how. Our brain wants to say, well, how is that going to happen? How will I make the $40,000? Listen, I've already done the math and proven to myself on paper that it's possible. Okay. But I still didn't follow through with that action because the burning desire, this mindset that was blocking me. So it's in order to get to that burning desire, it's important that we uproot the sponsoring thought that is telling us why our dream is not going to pan out in some way, shape, or form. So another example of this, a really dear friend of mine was sharing that she has a dream of living in a homestead environment, somewhere she can plant her roots. And she wants to garden and her daughter wants to do art and so many good things. And it lights her up when she feels this way. But she didn't want to do it without a husband. She doesn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. So even though she had this clear vision of what lights her up, it was very much contingent in her mind on her husband participating. But she had expressed this desire to him, and his mission, his desires were taking him in another direction, which wasn't bringing him home more, which is what she wanted. And so, see, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because we can have a situation where we feel like our goal is contingent on another person. And then we can get back into this hopelessness, feeling like, oh, well, I don't care how much of a burning desire I have. If so and so isn't on board with my plan, it'll never happen. That sponsoring thought is actually killing your burning desire. Okay. It's not the other person. And I really want to make sure you hear that because it's so easy for us to want to blame somebody else. And maybe that's what's happening. Maybe when you say your dream, you instantly have an awareness of a disappointed feeling or a feeling like somebody in your life, somebody significant, isn't rising to the occasion, isn't with you, or isn't supportive of this. And oh, if they don't, like, for example, maybe it's a big dream of yours to go to Europe, but your husband doesn't want to leave the country. Heck, he doesn't even want to go out on a Friday night. I don't know. Maybe you're thinking, I could never go to Europe without him, or he wouldn't let me. So it's this underlining thought. Now, friends, listen. What I'm about to say may sound incongruent. It's none of our other business what other people think. It's none of our business what they do. We can't change them. And I know we know that logically, but also we don't have to change them in order to live our dream. Okay? So let me say that again. We don't have to change them in order to live our dream. There was a time where I was working full time and I was just starting my podcast and I was starting my passion project, we'll say. And at that time, my husband was not the most supportive. And it wasn't like he even tried to not be supportive. It was just in passing, he would say things like, well, we really miss you, or you're always working, or I don't get to spend enough time with you, or the kids miss you. And this was something that I had felt for a long time whenever I tried to come up with something to help move me out of working full time, would be this um, guilt trip he would lay on me. Okay. And for a long time, I would return the guilt trip with anger and resentment to say, well, if you were making more, then I wouldn't have to. Okay. If you hear this dialogue that I'm saying, it's very physical physical realm. I don't know how else to say that. It's like it's not that it's an energy power struggle. He was taking the power out of my dream, and I was trying to take my power back by switching the blame, transferring the blame from me, where he had shamed me, to him, so that I could regain my energetic footing. This is happening on a physical realm. So there's energy that is potential, and then there's energy that is there. And often war, fighting, um, even complaining is an energy struggle. It's a power energy play. Okay. It wasn't until I asked myself, at the time, my relationship was really rocky. And I said to myself, am I willing to give up my dream to keep the peace in my marriage? And it was a very limiting feeling. I just instantly knew no. The answer is no. Then I asked myself this challenge, and it was, am I willing to give up my marriage for my dream? And the answer was yes. Now, I asked that question for clarity. I wasn't like, oh, well, I'm going to go divorce my husband now because that's, you know, that that's the way to go. That wasn't what I was doing. I was rubbing, I was feeling into both sides of it to decide which way was leading me, which to get clarity. So I knew that if I quit my dream, one day I'm going to be an old lady and I'm going to be very angry and bitter. And I would, as Wayne Dyer says, I would be dying with the music still in me. But on the other side of that is I couldn't stay in the position I was in. But by getting clear on what was true for me, I was able to stand in my truth. Okay. So here's what I mean when I say, if we look at this energetically, standing in your truth means your power, your energy is aligned with God, with universe, whatever word is right for you. But when you are standing in your truth, you are solid. You are on your foundation, your bedrock. Okay. It gets easier to face confrontation with kindness. It gets easier to, you don't feel that defensive posture in a discussion because you know yourself. Okay. So right now, if you're letting somebody else's energy or choice affect you or lower your dream status, for example, if you want to go travel, but you won't, but your husband won't let you, or he'll fight with you the whole way. When you're in your truth, it won't matter what he says. You're just going to do it. And you know what the most beautiful piece of this is? And this is the part that has blown my mind, and I know it will blow yours as well, is that when you do that, it's like that's where the jubilation comes from. Then this knowing that I stood in my truth and it worked out. And holy cow, it actually came together. I mean, my husband and I were still married, and our relationship is even stronger now. Because when I started standing in my truth and I started pursuing my passion and my dream, and I stopped needing his approval, okay? All of a sudden he was like, "Man, I'm really proud of you. Look what you've done." And I mean, I was jaw dropped. Like, "What? You're proud of me?" I never imagined I would hear that from him. And at that point, I no longer needed to hear that from him. But it's because I stood in my truth and pursued after my dream, regardless of that, that made that a possibility for me. Does that make sense? I'm really eager to hear your feedback on this. I'd love if you could comment or DM me because um, I'm curious what's coming up for you. Like, I'm sure you might be having some fears that are coming up for you. You might be having some hopes that are coming up for you. That doubt, any doubt that you're having, that is a sponsoring thought. So lean into that, be aware of it, and think, okay, what is this doubt telling me about myself? Because in order to manifest a burning desire, you want your desire to be so clear and non-negotiable, which we talked about last time, that nobody is going to stand in your way, even your closest people, because it will be your closest people who usually do stand in your way, guys. Like that's just the way it goes. Um, for me, I can tell you that whenever I've created something in my life and I did have that burning desire, the clarity was easy. So to manifest a burning desire, sometimes the clarity comes at a deeper, lengthier cost. In other words, it might take you a little longer to get to that clarity because it isn't such a burning desire. But what happened when I finally decided I'm earning $40,000 a month harmoniously, I will be able to embrace life and live it to the fullest in every experiential way, and I'll be able to rest and still know that I'm earning. There is this peace that comes with that, and the clarity comes with that. It like I can spin it up from there, like that. It almost gets legs and wants to go on its own. I can keep going into that dream of mine. There isn't something that comes up for me that feels like an energetic block. There's no doubt. The only doubt that I want you to ignore is the how. Well, I don't know how. Now, if it's genuinely true that it's because you don't know how, then the how comes from God. He is the way maker. The universe is the way, limitless possibility, quantum physics, call it what you want, call it science, call it God. It doesn't really matter. It is the way maker. It will move the mountain so that you can have the dream. The how, when we get stuck in the how, um, it is limiting. We limit that possibility. And we want to stay in that expansiveness. So put a pin in the how. It's okay today if you don't know how. What I know is possible is. And then you focus on what is possible because of the limitlessness of who you are. I don't know how long I've been talking here, but I want to say, um, this last piece when it comes to creating that burning desire. It is possible that this becomes a habit you want to embrace, is fluffing the burning desire. Okay. So let me say it like this. First, I want to preface this with some science. There is a great book I encourage you to read. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And essentially, there is a relationship of chemical exchanges that happens between when we think about something and when we feel something. So when we have a thought, we create some chemicals that we, our neurons, they're electrical signals that we send to our glands. Those glands then produce a chemical hormone that then goes throughout our body and can recreate more thoughts. And we create a loop that is this thought, emotion, behavior, thought, emotion, behavior. And he goes into a lot of depth. So I'm going to give you the cliff notes here. But what can happen when we have the same pattern of thinking? And so in my case, it was this belief that I have to work hard to make money. That was ingrained in me and it was reinforced over and over with the reward system. So when I would work hard to earn something, I was rewarded by getting the compliment and the result of the earning of whatever it was I was going for. And it just ingrained this belief system. It becomes a habit, a belief system. So what we're doing is we want to create a pattern in a new way. And listen, this is what can happen sometimes, is that he describes this in the book. Our body becomes the mind, is how he words it. And what actually can happen is as we start to deviate from our normal train of thinking. So the normal train of thinking might be, my husband will never let me travel to Europe. He'll never let me go. He'll always stand in my way. Or I'll never make $30,000 a month or $40,000 a month because there isn't enough time in the day for me to work hard enough to make that possible. What happens is our body has the receptors, just like an addict has receptors for the drug that they're taking or caffeine. If you ever fast off of caffeine, you recognize you don't need as many cups of coffee to get the same oomph, right? Because our physical body has receptors and we do go through withdrawals, right? When we are eliminating something our body is accustomed to, when we're eliminating that, we go through withdrawals. And so you will go through a withdrawal period where your body becomes the mind and it dictates the thoughts. This is the moment where people will say, my thoughts feel bigger than me, like they're happening without my control. That's because your body is craving the chemical reaction that comes when you have those thoughts. And I just want you to know that because as you start to spin up the energy and you manifest that burning desire by intentionally leaning into it every day after you've rooted out the sponsoring thoughts, the objections, you get into that like groove. And this is what the groove would sound like. And I'm going to use my goal as an example. So we know that we're limitless possibility. We know that quantum physics has proven that, science has proven that, God has proven that. If you're biblical, if you're a Christian or you are a follower of any religion, you know the universe is ultimate creation and the science is proving that, okay? And as it goes forward, as what happens is we sometimes think, well, I'm just me. I can't I'm not limitless. The truth is, you are limitless. Your cells and atoms in general, you physically and everything around you is only 10% matter. Everything else is space, and that space is quantum particles that literally evolve and change because of our thinking and our emotions. Okay. And so, we want to spin that energy up. We want to tune into it. So I'm going to leave you with this exercise. When you have the clarity and you have eradicated this, you've gotten the sponsoring thoughts out, and your goal feels like it lights you up when you say it. So I harmoniously make $40,000 a month. You put your hand on your heart and you breathe into it and you say to yourself, I know I am limitless possibility and that this dream is possible. It is becoming a reality. It has potential. tune into the potentiality of it. You know, again, going back to the new age era when we, just having positive thoughts don't work. For me, they don't work because I felt like I would be lying to myself. When I'm really mad, I'm like, I am happy. No, I'm not. I'm pissed off, right? Like my body and my mind was like, that's a no. That's a hard no. But what is true is that it's possible that I could feel happy. I'll feel happy again. So lean into possibility. And then close your eyes and imagine your dream. So I'm harmoniously earning $40,000 a month. It comes with ease. I'm not thinking about it as much. It's just simply happening. It's normal for me to see $40,000 months in my bank account. It is I'm working, I'm showing up to my work every day. I'm feeling charged by my life. I get to take time off in balance. I get to do things with my kids. I'm working on my farm. I feel so good in all areas of my life. My health is vibrant. My energy is vibrant. And it's amazing. It amazes me because I can remember feeling so limited, but I know now that I'm not limited, and I'm so proud of myself for what I've created. And see, suddenly my words suddenly evolved into created versus I'm creating. Okay? Because as you start digging in and you start like imagine you're reading the story, you're visualizing it. Everything I was just doing, I was there in my mind. You want to live it like it's real for you. That is burning desire. You're getting that clarity. And anytime something comes up for you that is holding you back, you flush it out and you turn it into clarity for your future. So whatever else could come up, well, I don't know how. That's okay because I don't have to know how. He won't let me. That's okay if he doesn't want to let me. I know what I am capable of. I am safe and I can travel. I could take a buddy with me. And even if he doesn't like it, he's not going to leave me over it or whatever. You just keep moving forward towards your goal. Okay, so that is how you manifest a burning desire. It's a daily process. When your thinking derails you or you feel like your thoughts are controlling you and you're having a slumpy day, you just tell yourself, this is just part of it. This is just part of my body craving those old thinking habits, but I'm not thinking them anymore because today I'm focused on, and then you fill in the blank with the possibility of what is coming. All right. Okay, so the next step here, we're going to talk more about rehearsing and deeper than visualizing and how to continue to go down this journey because this is not something that happens overnight. This is something that evolves. It's like you are becoming. Who are you becoming? This is an evolution to find this out. Sometimes it isn't it's not, we always want everything to be A, B equals C. It's a linear. We want to follow a linear path. This evolution is not linear. It is experiential. So I'm grateful for you being on this journey with me. I definitely would love to hear from you. You can connect with me on Instagram. I'm Lindsay Sutherland 24. You can connect with me on Facebook. You can connect with me on my website as well, um, lindsaysutherland.com. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time. Bye for now.